All right, so next topic. What I also wanted to talk about was social media. So I think like it's weird, isn't it? Because our generation is fucking growing up on that shit, and it's weird because we're like the generation where it's really affected. Obviously, the next generation is kind of
They're even more fucked than
even
us.
more fucked than us. And we'll get to that. We'll get to that. But okay, the point what I want to know is that I know that you spoke about how you've just really not been on social media at all. You've kind of just stayed away from it, but you've seen the effects of that. Talk to me about technology and social media and how you think it's affected our generation, yeah, and also how you think it's starting to affect guys and how they think about life, from that perspective.
Well, firstly, I am on social media, but I'm not like a frequent like poster or anything. And there's a lot of shit going on now with the younger generation I just haven't got a clue about, which I'm happy about. I don't want to be a part of that. But yeah, the issue I think really, and it's part of this whole like metaverse kind of shit going on now. It's like it's like an excuse or an alternative to your own life, or it's like an excuse to live something else. Well, it's just an alternative to live a different life, and that's not how you don't. If your life isn't great, you don't just say, "All right, well, I'll just live an online life or just do something else." Like, no, like that's not you. Your life is the life. That's real. The other stuff's not real. So if you've got problems in your life, you have to sort that. You can't just say, "Right, like easy route. I'll just say like goodbye to that and I'll go live online." Like, no, that's not how it should be. So I just think like we've grown up in like with social media being huge in our like teenagers, but luckily when we were like before the age of like 10, 11, 12, really, when social media took off, we were able to like live like a normal. When I say normal, I just mean based on what it's been before that. Obviously there was technology, we had computers, there was like MSN and Skype and all that shit, but it wasn't what it is. It's a whole different beast today. So like I'm just grateful that I was that era rather than what like this new era. Yeah.
And it's so weird too, because when you think about it, like you think about how it's affecting people's relationships with people. Like I feel like social media has made us way more weirdly enough, even though we're interconnected over the internet, in terms of real life.
There's a separation there as well. Yeah,
So
like we're closer together. People are closer together, but they're also further apart.
Okay,
Because
but I had a thought about like how do you think technology can be used to help us? Like obviously it's designed to help us, it's designed to make us more interconnected and all of this stuff, but we're using it in a bad way. I'm thinking, is that just because human beings are always going to take good things and then turn into a bad way, or do you think the technology itself can be made where it helps us?
well, I think like these apps can do more to like protect younger people from stuff. Like the internet's just like black market, or like you can see, find whatever you want, say whatever you want. That's also a huge issue I haven't even spoken about, is that people think they can just say whatever the fuck they want and deal with no consequences, and that's the biggest issue. Like it can be applied to every aspect of life, and that's like a huge issue. That's probably one of the biggest issues, that people like keyboard warriors can just say whatever the fuck they want and then just like log off, go and live their life like normal, go and chill with the grandma like they haven't just said the most racist or like homophobic thing ever, and just like abuse someone. Like bullying is another part of it as well. Like who was it? Was it Tyler the Creator or someone said like, how are you getting cyberbullied? Just log off. Like I kind of get that, but at the same time, like no, like as a kid, you're more kind of vulnerable to that type of shit. You don't understand that like you can just log off. And like my opinion as well, like when I see people on the internet, I don't view, they're not real people.
You know, what do you mean not real? Like, as in, like, do you think they're putting a perception?
Like no, like I'm not saying like they're bots. Like they are, like they're human beings. They're real people. But like I don't view someone who goes online and abuses people, or like even like people like people that comment on like footballers' posts. Like, what? It's just a bit weird. Like why are you doing? Like what's the point? They're not, I think Ronaldo's going to sit through all of his comments and be like, oh, the fucking Ethan Lavelda's said this. Oh, I really like that guy. I'm going to message him. Like no, he doesn't see, and he's got a team managing his thing. That's why it's all fake. I just don't get it. I just don't get it. I don't get it.
I mean, there's positive aspects to it, and I think
obviously, of course, there is.
Like speaking of someone wwho's trying to get something out there, I feel like if you're like
100%, and that's where I can't see it because I'm not like a creator like that. But 100%, and I don't have. This is good. This is the good sides of social media for creative people. It's a whole other avenue for them to get their shit out when it's so much easier to do that. So that I support that. That's cool, and I like that. It just depends on the content you're trying to get out, which is why like if you're spreading misinformation, if you're spreading just like negativity or whatever it is, or just like hate, like Andrew Tate and that, like what he doesn't I don't, maybe he does realize, he just doesn't care, but like, what are you doing? Like, it just depends on what the content is. I'm not, yeah, like, I feel like I've just like shat all over like
No, 'cause
influence and social media, like,
I want to go for that. I think it's so important too, because when you're mentioning it, it's actually one I wanted to talk about today too. Because I feel like you're 100% right. Social media can be used for good, but most of the time it's used for bad, because people just know that they can get people to just listen to them and feel like they're like this messiah. Which I think the problem with Andrew Tate was like, he presented himself as this messiah. Like, I knew everything. I'm always right. And loads of young, impressionable men fell for that because they had no other role model in their life, and he became that. So the question I'm asking, right, is that first of what is it like? What is the like? Do you see that? Do you see that like a lot of young men are being like fed this lie of how to be like this masculine alpha male shit that kind of he promotes, and like they're falling into that because they didn't have role models. And with that in mind, how do you think we escape that? Big question.
It is a big
We can talk about
question,
it.
yeah.
Go.
I don't, like, personally, it's hard for me to see it because, like, I'm not on social media like that enough. None of my friends are really on it enough like that. Like, it's hard for, I can only,
That doesn't really affect you, you're saying.
yeah, it's hard. It's hard for me. I can't see whether, like, I know there are people out there, and just based on those weirdos online that post weird shit, like, that's all I can see. But like I said, I don't view them as real people, so it's not something that I really like take in. Like, are there like people that I interact with, and it could be like random people. They're not like that. So like, I'd like to think the majority of people just like see like me could see this guy and just be like, what an idiot, and scroll past it, and that's that.
But you see how like that, like, even off social media, like in real life, is affecting how guys. Because I know it's a kind of like a trite topic to talk about, like men and mental health and all of that shit. But I think it's important too, because like there's an other side of that, which I think we both are, where it's like you don't have to follow that lifestyle. That's just like you were saying, it's a fake thing online. You can be a genuine person in real life and actually move forward in your life by just making decisions to better your life in the world. I'm trying to get to that perspective. Like, how did you, as you were growing up, figure out, okay, social media is not for me, I'm not going to fucking focus on that. Actually, I have real shit in my life that I want to, like, actually focus on. And how did that help you grow as a person?
Yeah, I mean, social media was only really like took off or kind of became what it is today, like in my kind of mid to late teenage years. Like in the early days of my like when I kind of first downloaded like Instagram, Snapchat and stuff, it wasn't what it is today, and it was cool back then. Like it was what it was for. It was literally to share stuff with your friends and your friends only. That was kind of what it was, and there's nothing wrong with that. But it's then since kind of become a different thing. And yeah, I feel like it's kind of, firstly, it's irreversible. The world is in need social media. We can't, normal things now can't be like I think to myself, like, I know I'm not going to do it now, but I thought over the years, like, oh, maybe I should just get rid of my phone. Like, I don't need a smartphone. All I need a phone for is to call or text people. Like, I could just get a Nokia. But like, it's not feasible to do that anymore. Like, I do need it. Like, firstly, I'm not saying as well, like, I'm the guy. Like, I live in real life. I'm sitting on Twitter. I read Twitter. I'm doing all this stuff. So like, I'm part of the problem as well. But I'm just not. There's like, I know like, what kind of the limitation. I know where I want it. Yeah. But yeah, I think the world is kind of irreversible damage now. Like the world and like businesses and like rely on social media. So we're too far gone now with that. I think to myself, like, if everyone saw this and we just got rid of it, like that's not possible anymore. So it's like, it is what it is. It's about understanding that it's good for some things and using it for those good things and not using it for negative things. But obviously, the younger you are, the harder it is for you to see that. And yeah, and also the more the world needs it and relies on it, the more sucked into it you get.
What do you think the idea of being a man or being a young guy growing up is today, and how do you separate or relate to that idea?
In terms of what?
In terms of like, so I can like, I talk my experience, right? So in terms of like growing up, because I see it too, I agree with you. Like, I dislike social media since I was a kid, because I saw that it was just like none of this is real, none of this makes sense, none of this actually has any like I say it's not tangible. You can actually do anything with it to actually help your life. So a lot of my upbringing, I focused on like literature. I would read books. I'd read all these people that are long dead and try to base my life off them. So like, I would read people from online. I'd be like, oh, cool, that's a role model I can follow. Because as a young guy, when you don't have that role model, especially in popular media, everyone else is just like you were saying, like, you just presented it as an idea and it's not really who you want to be. It doesn't relate to your life. For me, a lot of that was like, okay, that's my perception of guys, just like poets and all these different people, and that's who I try to model my life after. But I'm thinking back, I'm thinking to like young people now and what role models they have and how they model their life and what people tell them about how to be a man. All this like idea, you gotta be alpha man, you gotta treat people like this, you gotta treat girls like this, and it's all bollocks, it's all crazy, stupid stuff. So I'm trying to present a different perspective as like actually you can just be a decent person, you can love the people around you, you can try to achieve your goals, hang out with your friends, just do whatever, and it'll all be fine. But like that idea is not pushed on enough. But the conversation I'm trying to have is like, what do you think that idea that maybe you don't, maybe again, like you're saying, because you're not on social media, you don't know, but looking around your friends and the people that you grew up with, what was the idea that was pushed on you about how to be as a guy, and then like, how did you just find your way through that, and grow up basically?
Well, for me personally, like I can only go off of kind of what I'd been told, like life was like before this social media era. Like growing up, social media wasn't what it was. So like as like a young kid, like my cousins were like a big influence on me, and they were quite a bit older than me at the time. So like they grew up like they were born from like I think like the oldest one may have been like late 80s, and then the youngest one was like kind of late 90s. So they a little bit older than me. And that was kind of my, like, hearing them talk and their kind of relationship between the four of them. And then as I got older, and we all kind of got older, and they were at uni or whatever, and all these experiences, like, social media wasn't an aspect of their life. Like, they were on it as it grew, but that wasn't, like, a big aspect of their life. So I guess for me, it was based on my conversations with them and seeing how they were and how they presented themselves and the hobbies and the things that they did, but then also speaking to my parents about what life was like when they grew up, because I've always been interested, and like my grandparents always been interested, like how like life has changed. And obviously you can see it if you watch TV, films, music, like you can hear it, like you can get a picture of what life was like before this era now. So I don't know how the kids nowadays, I'm assuming they just need to do the same thing as I did, but like it's harder for them, it's way harder for them.
So skibidi brain rot, bro.
It is like if I was a part of this generation, I'd be cooked as they it's true though, like I'd be fucked, because it's like I'd be part of it, and I wouldn't know
to escape that.
I wouldn't know.
But what do you think? Like, what do you speaking about your cousins? What's some of the things that you learned from them when you're growing up? About just like growing up. Like, what are some of the things they showed you? Maybe not even told you specifically, like explicitly. But like, what did you learn from just how they were and how they conducted themselves?
Well, there's four of them, so their like relationship with each other as brothers. I've got one brother and then one younger sister. And so, like, I kind of, growing up, like, I always was, like, desperate to go to uni. Even from the age of, I don't even know, like, when I was, like, 8 or 9 or something, and the older ones were at uni at that time, like, just hearing how they talk about it. And then as the two younger ones went to uni and was kind of, that was only a few years away from me, so I was, like, 15, I was, like, year 10 or something when the younger ones were at uni. And just hearing, like, what they were doing, and I was just, I gotta do that, like, I want to do that. Yeah, they were just, I guess they were role models for me, because obviously I had my dad in my life who's been a role model for me in the sense of he's the guy every day who I see, and I see his way of living. But my cousins were, like, my age, so that was more of, like, a realistic sort of role model for what I could be like in a few years' time, rather than, like, when I'm a dad sort of thing. So, yeah, just seeing how they live their lives. I don't know if I've answered the question, really, with that.
No, but you're basically saying, I get what you're saying, like, you're using them as a role model. When you said that you wanted to be like at uni, what was part of that? Was it just like just the partying?
The partying, yeah. Like when I was 15, that was me. I was all over that. So like, it's funny because if uni was like at a different point of your life and you do it in your late 20s or something, if that's just how it was, that side of things wouldn't appeal to me as much. But it's for me. I also view uni as a part of growing up.
Socialization, basically.
Also learning independence, how to look after yourself, and learning about yourself, like what works. Like it's rough, it's not easy. It's not like some people find it easy, but a lot of people, most people, like it's hard. But like you have moments in there which are just, it's a different time of life. You've got no responsibility. Usually for most people, it's the first time in their life where they got no responsibilities, by themselves, can live their life the way they want to without other people. But that's what then makes you realise, oh, okay, I thought I'd want to do this. I've done this for 2 years. Actually, I don't like this. This isn't good for me. So it's about figuring out what works for you as a person, not what your parents or your family thinks you should be doing.
Okay, here's another question then. Going off the role models and just kind of stay on that topic too. A big factor for me, apart from literature, was also music and hip hop. And for me, that's kind of like where I kind of like listening to just different artists, where I started like role modeling my kind of outlook on life after them. Even probably not a healthy thing to do. Like imagine, I remember like being as a kid listening to 50 Cent. Literally listen. worst influence you could have. Like this guy was drug dealer, just like talking about PIMPs and all this, and it's like me listening. And my sister was like, "You can't listen to him. He's like a very, very not good person." But I was like, "Yeah, but he made he made like in the club. What are you talking about? It's a banger." But yeah, talk to me about music. Talk me about like hip hop too. Like, what was your introduction to hip hop? What were some of your favorite people that you listen to and stuff like that?